How's it going, everybody? Matt Borey here from the American Casino Guide book and the Jackpot Gents with my dad, as always, Steve Borey. How you doing today, Dad?
I am doing great, Matt Borey. How are you?
Good. Glad to hear it. And today we have a special guest with us, John Mahaffey from VegasAdvantage.com. How are you doing today, John?
Doing great, Matt. Nice to be on this again, yeah, and also good to see you again, Steve. Been a couple of years.
Yes.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if you're not familiar with John and his website, he keeps track of all of the best games to play in Las Vegas and has a particular section on the best places to play video poker in Las Vegas. And we saw you had just written an article on fliptheswitch.com about that, which reminded us about you and figured we'd get you back on the show.
Well, I'm glad you found the article. It's a great article, real informative, and it's been fun working with Flip the Switch. They're owned by BC Slots. They're a great group. So they're one of our content partners.
Mm-hmm. So I guess let's just hop into it. The first question is, if people aren't familiar with you, what is your background and how did you get into the casino industry?
Well, it all started with poker. As a teenager, I played poker with my friends. One day, I stumbled upon a larger game with adults, and they invited me in thinking I'd be some teenage fish, and I've learned that I was a pretty good poker player. So when online poker came along, that's where how I got involved with publishing online. And when online poker didn't really make it all that well, I moved over to we were living in Las Vegas, so I decided to start covering Las Vegas casinos, and that's where we ended up now. First, we started covering blackjack, then all the table games and video poker, and so that's how Vegas Advantage came about. And so we launched that in 2018. But over the years, I've worked for really dozens of companies and individuals who publish gambling content one way or another. But
But
all
now,
the
what
roots are in poker until poker kind of went away.
was your website always VegasAdvantage.com, or did you start with another name and then change it over later?
Well, so I had just a personal blog way back when. It's long gone now. The Vegas Advantage was the first website that I published that was entirely mine. You know, my wife is a part of the business. My wife Christina is a part of the business also. But before, I would just do freelance work for friends and that type of thing, and just kept me busy enough. And eventually, I thought, well, why don't I do this all on my own? Because my information was scattered over a half dozen websites, and I thought, well, if I put it all in one place, that'll be better for everybody. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's how that came about. So by 2021, we had the blackjack and table game surveys on it. Before that, it was more of just an informative blog. It's just things I stumbled upon.
And then, so what? You keep track of all the best rule because people aren't familiar with games like blackjack. You know, the casinos can change the rules, and that changes the house advantage. So, and same with like craps and most table games, casinos can change the rules. They can either have tighter rules or more liberal rules. So that's you keep track of all those rules as to what places have the lowest house edge.
Absolutely. And so we cover the minimum bet. You can play 3-2 blackjack as low as $3 still in Las Vegas. Well, it's in North Las Vegas, but so we have that whether it pays 3-2 or 6-5. 3-2 is the better payout. 6-5 adds about 1.4% to the house edge. We also cover double down rules. Some places don't let you double down after splitting. Some places will let you resplit aces up to four hands. Some of them will say, oh, if they give you an ace, you're stuck with it. The surrender is when you fold and give half your bet to the house. We cover whether a game has that. Whether the dealer stands or hits on soft 17, it's better when they stand by about 0.2%. And how many decks are used. That's pretty important too. The fewer the decks, the better. Though, we don't have any more 3-2 single deck games here in Las Vegas because El Cortez got rid of theirs in April, I believe it was. So all the 6-5, all the single deck games in Las Vegas that are left are now 6-5. There aren't very many of those either. And with craps, we do the odds, maximum odds, whether it's double, 3, 4, 5, 10 times. It goes as high as 20 times here.
No 100 times left?
I'm sorry?
No 100 times odds left?
No, we haven't had 100 times since I believe 2021. Cromwell got rid of that, and it's been gone since then. Nobody has come back with it. We had a horseshoe open up, and most of the horseshoes have 100 times craps across the country, but not the one here. It's 3, 4, 5, just like virtually everything else on the strip. Something else we cover are the number of zeros on roulette. There's also two types of single zero. One is European, where you get half your bet back if you bet an even money, and it lands on zero. We are Pai whether it's face up or dealer open or the old style 5%. So all of these things are what we cover. Every bit of rules that we can find out, whether Baccarat's no commission or has it, we try our best to cover that. It's not as easy to uncover unless you sit down and play all the games. But we do our best with that, and we moved into some video poker, which is how we came up with this article. With the best Las Vegas video poker, because when we go through, we go to the casinos, we look at the machines and just try to find the best pay tables.
John, I got one question for you here. You had mentioned the Cromwell, and years ago, which is owned by Harrah's, right? Caesars Entertainment.
Right.
Yeah. So years ago, they experimented, I guess, and had good games with good odds. Like you were saying, they had 100 times odds on craps. They had good blackjack rules. I think they had decent video poker, but I guess it didn't work out. People didn't flock there knowing that they were better games. I guess they changed them all back to bad games. What do you think?
When they reopened for COVID, most of that disappeared. The good bank of video poker, because they had full pay jacks and some been too long, but I think they had a lot of 99% games in there. They might even have like 96 bonus poker deluxe. There was a bank of them right by the front pit that disappeared when they reopened for COVID. The 100 times crap stayed around, and some of the 3-2 blackjack did, but then all of that disappeared. They put the single zero table in the back, and somebody there told me it never reopened after COVID. It was still on the floor for like a year, but they never used it. So within about a year, that table disappeared. The craps went to 3, 4, 5 times like all the other Caesars are. And that, like I said, that video poker was not there when they reopened from COVID. And now everything on the floor is 6-5. You have to play $100 a hand in the salon to get a 3-2 game at Cromwell.
Well, that sounds about typical for Caesars properties. But it's interesting that when it did have those good games, do you think a lot of people were flocking there to it, or just people didn't know in general? Most people, I have the feeling that most people, they don't know what a good game from a bad game when they go to a casino.
Well, and they had a lot of signs outside. So if you were educated, I think most roulette players realize that a single zero is better than double zero. I'd hope at least, although they do play triple zero when there's the same limit as double zero next to it. So who knows? But they were much busier back then. Every time we go in there now, it is so slow. There'll be $5 type of poker, like 3-card poker is $5 in there often, even at night. Craps is now 3, 4, 5 instead of 100. I think they lost a lot of craps action from that. I don't think a lot of people played 100 times, but they might have played 10 or 20, and they can't do that anymore. And so the blackjack rules there are terrible now. And the high limit room is only open on peak hours, probably only weekends. We hardly ever see it open. And we're not on the strip on Friday or Saturday nights. It's too hard to get around to do what we do. And so I think it did hurt their business, but also, it's almost all Caesars around there too. So if they lost business, it went to one of their other properties. They probably weren't dragging too many people over from Bellagio. And so I imagine that they didn't do too bad. They probably make the same amount of money. It just isn't going down the same drop, so to speak.
So just
one question I have for you, I'm curious.
Let me just throw in this last comment here, please. So basically, your website appeals to people who are looking for good games and looking for good value for their money when they go to Las Vegas.
Right. We save the trouble of having to go from casino to casino to find your favorite games, because we've already done that for the players. And we have general information on our website, and we sell the rest of it through a newsletter. It's $5 a month, and we update it. We go to we visit anywhere between, like, say, 8 and 20 casinos in a month. Like, we go downtown once a quarter, and we visit the locals casinos about twice a year, and every strip property gets 3 or 4 visits a year. And so we keep it all there. You can look by blackjack, or you can look by casino. So you go, here's what Bellagio has, or you can think, where can I play double deck blackjack that stands on soft 17? So we have it the 2 different types of ways we report on it, by game and by casino.
Thank you.
Well, my question for you, John, was with how often you're going to these casinos and visiting them, do you actually gamble yourself?
So I play a little bit of video poker, and the best video poker game in Las Vegas is at Plaza. It's full pay Joker, full pay Joker poker. And I like to joke that I'm the reason it's there. I've been playing that game for about 20 years. It used to be a Las Vegas club. And when Las Vegas club closed, they moved some coin games over to Plaza, including the full pay Joker. And in 2019, they got rid of the coin games. They gave me one of them. That's how much of a regular player I've been over the years. So I have one in my office here, a coin dropper. And they replaced them a few months later with ticket in, ticket out. So there's one of these machines left behind the sportsbook bar. And so that's my main hobby. And even though it pays back 100.65%, you're making $2 or $3 an hour. And the strategy is incredibly complicated. I'm sure I still make a good number of mistakes, although they're not bad mistakes. But you can make, if you don't know how to play the game, you probably give up 2 or 3%, making some pretty significant errors. But my hobby is to fine tune that strategy, because something I was told a long time ago by Wizard of Odds is that no human can learn that strategy in
Oh.
100%. And I think he's right, but maybe I will one day. My local casino is Rampart. I'll go play 8-5 bonus poker with a progressive up there at the bar. I don't play a lot of table games. Kind of got bored when the blackjack rules got so bad, and also I just don't like the kind of the cat and mouse of if you vary your bets too much, they get all upset these days. It's just no fun to me to play the tables much anymore, and so many of them have such a high edge that it's just, I don't know. If I have a friend in town, I'll play craps with them or maybe some blackjack, but I don't go to the casinos to play table games myself.
Gotcha.
That Joker poker game, we played that. We did a video on it, a short. Is it on YouTube? I know it's on TikTok. I think
Yeah,
it's on YouTube
it's on
also.
YouTube. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We,
So if
funny
anyone
enough, we
wants
were
to
there
look
for
for it.
a Brian Christopher a boot camp about making videos.
Oh,
Yeah. So I
So
guess
yeah,
so you mentioned playing video poker, which is what we like to play as well. So I guess one thing we should do is, if people aren't familiar, let's go over why video poker is such a good game to play
okay.
as opposed to slots.
Right. And so a typical slot machine these days is going to hold around 10%. And so it could return as low as in the mid 80s. Some of them are probably in the low 90s. And like Slots of Fun has 97.4 advertised on their old reels. That's probably as good as it gets on slots, at least in the casino. Online, there may be up in that range. But video poker, another thing is too, when you walk up to a slot machine, most people would have no idea, and sometimes there's no way to know what the payback on it is. There could be two machines next to each other that have different returns with the same title. And if you played it in one casino and you come over to another casino, they might not have the same payback. But with video poker, you can always look at the pay table. It tells you right there what at least the theoretical payback is. Now you have to know the strategy, because if you make mistakes, you're going to give up more of a house edge than somebody who hasn't memorized. And so, so some of these games, like we mentioned, the player has an advantage on the full pay joker. That's very rare. There's only a few dozen of those machines in Las Vegas. But there are thousands of machines that have 99% payback on them. So if you know how to play, and you say you're playing with 5, 6, 700 hands an hour, if you're playing $1.25 a hand, you're only giving up what, $6, $7 an hour in house advantage. Well, you might get that back from mailers, a free beer. You might get slot points that is going to eat away at some of that house edge. Whereas with slots, if you bet $700, you're losing what, $70 on average, right? Or if it's holding 10%. So that really adds up fast. You go play a 5-hour session in one game and you're losing, $25, $30, and you play a 5-hour session at the other, you're losing $350. And so now casinos take care of the slot players better. It's a lot harder to get free rooms and suites and upgrades in $500 in free slot play when you're playing 99% video poker. Like if somebody's playing slots at the same level, they're going to get a lot better offers. They're going to move up in the players card system faster, but also the house edge is astronomically higher. It's not, I don't see it's worth what you get additionally.
Yeah, I know that most of the places it's 2 times more, maybe up to 5 times more coin in that you have to do on a video poker machine than on a slot machine to get the same amount of points. But like you said, if the house edge is 10 times higher and you've only got to put through 2 times or even 5 times as many points, it's much more worth it, like you said.
Right. So Rio pays you 0.8% on slots, but only 0.1% on video poker. You can play 9-6 double bonus there, which is 98.98%. And you're only going to get 0.1%. But then if you play a 10% hold slot, you're getting 0.8. That's, you think, oh, it's 8 times better slot points if I play, penny slots instead of video poker, but not really, because they're only giving you, not even 10% of the difference of the house edge back in the points. So yeah, the video poker is absolutely, if you can learn the strategy, is absolutely the way to go. Some people don't want to think when they're on vacation. They want to drink and push buttons and just cheer, Keno players the same way. I get that, because video poker, you got to think a lot, especially when you're learning. And some people don't want to do that. They're on vacation, right? So I understand it, but I choose video poker because it keeps me in the game a lot longer.
Oh, I'm the opposite. I can only, play Keno on the machine 5-10 minutes, or a slot machine for 5 or 10 minutes, and then I just get bored because I'm not thinking.
I'm exactly with you. Yes. I like the challenge. That's one thing I really like about that Joker poker game is I still make mistakes on it. I'm still learning now I'm making mistakes for 51-49. I'm picking the 49% return side, of it. But I like learning that, and slots you don't learn much from it.
Yep.
Yeah, on our channel, we actually made money playing video poker last year. Not
Mhm.
not a lot, but to come out ahead after a whole year, put out one video every day, and we do a live 1 hour live stream on Mondays. We came out ahead.
And the year
This year,
before.
was it the year before too?
Yep, 2 years. I think it was only like 9 or 10 months out of the year because we didn't do it for that
Yeah, we
full
didn't do a
second
full
year. But
year. Okay.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, and we're losing, but we're not losing. Somebody did the math for us and said we're down like
one
one
percent.
half of 1% or something. So yeah, there's much more value for anyone to play video poker. Take the time and effort to learn video poker, everybody. So John, how did you come up with your list? I guess you went to these casinos and you go and you check the pay tables.
Right. And so we cover about 75 casinos for our survey. There's only 69 that have table games right now, but we do go to a few that are slots only just because they're along the way, like Casino Royale as an example. And
Hmm.
so we've gone through all of these casinos video poker. And, I admit you can't find everything. If they only have one good machine and somebody's on it every time I go there, I'm not going to be able to go through the machine. And so from the best of what we found by our years of coverage, these are the games on that list are what we have found over the years. And every time I go back to the casino, the first thing I do is, do they still have this game? I don't see it. I go ask a slot attendant, did you move? Did those machines get moved? And so we go through and find all of this. We don't dig deep into the best Ultimate X pay tables and those kind of things. These are all going to be on single line or 3, 5, and 10 plays.
Hmm.
So, Ultimate X is so complicated to try to figure those types of things out on. We just to stick with the standard games.
Yep.
All
I
right,
guess
so
I guess once you finally figured it out, it was probably much harder to create than it is now to upkeep because you know what the best is at each casino, so it's going to be fairly easy, I would think, to go back in and make sure it's still there than it was
Absolutely. And I
figuring it
have
all out to
really
begin
good
with.
memories. So when I'm walking through a casino, I know exactly where these were. I don't have to look up. I don't keep notes
Hmm.
on that. I'm like, all right, that thing's been there for 5 years. Let me go find it still there. Okay. They haven't downgraded everything. But yes, getting the initial data and we still kind of learn some things like, we've covered these casinos since 2011. So we
Hmm.
have the routes down, like how we go through one casino to the next. Like we go from, I guess Mirage isn't there anymore, to Circus or to Caesar's Palace. We go through not the mall, but there's a little driveway that comes out, and you walk in, you're almost by the food court. And so
Hmm.
we figure out how to have as few steps as possible while doing this and walking around and driving around towns, and what being within the casinos the same way. We know the insides and outs of these casinos.
hmm. All right, so let's start on your list. Tell us, where are the best places to play video poker in Las Vegas?
All right. Well, as I mentioned earlier, Plaza is what I rank the best, and it's not just because of the Joker poker machine. They also have 99.5% video poker at three of their bars. The best game is 9-6 bonus poker deluxe, and that's 99.64. They also have full pay jacks, 9-6 jacks, which is 99.54. Now this is with perfect strategy and 5 coins bet. On the bars, it's 50 cents and higher. There's two machines at Carousel, and then almost all the machines at the Omaha bar and all the machines at Sand Dollar have these games. If you go to the floor, there are a couple of banks where they have 25-cent versions of those games. And they also have 8-5 bonus poker, 9-7 double bonus. Those are closer to 99%.
Hmm.
So that's why that takes number one, because it has a wide variety. Also, you can go up to $5 denomination on 9-6 bonus poker deluxe. I believe that Plaza is the only casino in Las Vegas that has $5 9-6 bonus poker deluxe, because nobody on the strip does, and everybody else who has that game doesn't go above $2 as far as I know.
Hmm. The
Uh,
thing we found
I
interesting.
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say the thing we found interesting about the Plaza is they had very, very good video poker on their single line machines. But once you went up to the multi line machines, or even like the Ultimate X or the Hot Roll or any of those funky games like that, the pay tables were not very good.
I completely agree with you, and I've had that discussion with them before, and I think
Hmm.
that some of them they didn't tell me why it's that way, but I think some of the casinos don't like high variance games and so they want to take a little bit more. Same reason why I just mentioned why they don't have like 9-6 bonus poker deluxe at higher limits. I think that these types of higher variance games, they don't want somebody to come in there, get lucky on them and beat them for, $30,000, $50,000. If you get dealt a royal on Ultimate X when you got an 8-time multiplier, you're talking, you're betting on quarters on Ultimate X, you just crushed them. And so I think that they want to have more of an advantage on these wild games that also the variance could go the wrong way and you could dump all your money into it and never have a chance of winning at all. So, but I have noticed that it's very rare with the variants have good pay tables almost anywhere. Emerald Island is one exception to that, which is a really tiny casino. I think it is on this list. A little tiny casino in Henderson, a Rainbow Club is attached to it, or the same owners in downtown Henderson. But for the most part, it's really hard to find good paybacks on these. Now you will find them on the 3, 5, and 10 plays. At least they'll go up to like 8-5 bonus on those. Or not a Plaza, I don't think, but like a Mastery Station next door, they do. So the multi-hands up to 10, sometimes you'll find the same pay tables as the single lines in a casino. But once you start getting into those other types of games, it becomes different. Now, I have noticed if I go to other states, the hot roll game that you mentioned, sometimes that's the best game. In Pennsylvania, I found 3 or 4 examples where the best video poker in the casino was on the hot roll machines, which didn't make any sense to me, but probably.
Yeah, we've got one casino down here by us where, South Florida, the pay tables are nowhere near as good as Las Vegas, but one of the best games in the casino is 8-6 bonus poker deluxe, and you can only find it on the hot roll machine.
So maybe there's something weird about how they program the hot rolls, because I was surprised that several casinos, and I thought, why is the best game on hot roll? Because you don't have to play the extra 5 coins. You can just play the 5 coins and get the good pay table.
Well, one thing we did know is hot roll. I don't know if you know this, but hot roll poker is one of the very few bonus variants of video poker that does not add to the overall payback percentage. It just raises.
Yeah, it's exactly the randomness of the dice, because it's six times. Or I did figure that out one time. Right, I went and did the math on it. Went, oh, okay, yeah. Because always the Ultimate X and stuff does add to the pay table a little bit, but that's also
While we're on the Plaza, I had a question for you on the Players Club points. Now, you were talking about the Joker poker game, which is more than 100% payback. But if you play that, they do not give you any Players Club points. Are there any other games in there where they do not give you any Players Club points? Do you know of?
I believe that machine, there used to be 4 of those, but now there's only one. I believe that is the only machine in there that does not pay points. And also, and this is just my experience and what people have told me, if all you ever do is play that game, I don't think you'll get mailers or anything. I think that they will just consider you to be, you're welcome there, but they're not going to give you any other extra reason to come drop by. But I do believe in that changed in about 2017. And my coin game over here in my office says no points on a label maker spread across the top of it. But when they moved those over to Plaza, they still paid points. And they had locals days on Tuesdays and Fridays or something, and you got double points. So I'd go in there and get double points on the Joker poker machine. But yeah, about, I don't know, 2017, maybe 2018, I walked in one day and it said no points on it, and it's been that way ever since.
And one other question: do they give you the same amount of players points? Because we were talking that the exotic games, Ultimate X or whatever, had worse pay tables, but you still earn the same amount of Players Club points on the better pay tables as you do on the worst pay tables. It's a certain amount per point. They don't change it if the pay table is worse.
That is correct. If you're playing 9-6 bonus poker deluxe and getting full points, then you play, say, Ultimate X, it has 97% payback, you're going to get the same point return, which I believe is 0.083.
Okay.
That sounds right. At least slots, I think, is 4 times better than that.